Here at the King's Daughter School, we are a primarily residential program for children with developmental disabilities. And specifically, our students typically have an intellectual disability, which means an IQ below 70. And many of our students also have autism and may have various other disorders as well. Our students come to us from all over the United States and from several foreign countries. And typically a student who is coming to us, a special education student, has been on an IEP, and generally we do serve lower functioning students. So most of our students are not on track to receive a high school diploma, but we have been on track to receive a special education diploma. And so those typically are the students that we serve, and frequently students who have not been successful in their local schools or for various reasons. They or their either school system or their family may be looking for a private placement that could more specifically meet the needs of the students. So our students here are all, as I said, special education students. So they receive a variety of services here, special education classes that address the academics. Plus we feel very strongly there's a benefit in a residential program, because not only do we work on academics during the 7.5-hour school day, but we're able to address adaptive functioning needs throughout all the waking hours, things that are addressed in our residential program, from such basic things as how to set a table, how to help meal preparation, how to do laundry, how to make your bed, a lot of just life skills, as well as the social skills of how to get along with a roommate, how to get along with your other housemates, how to negotiate what we're going to do, and what games we're going to play, or what we're going to watch on television, or all those kinds of basic life skills that can be a challenge for our students, that we work on all of those kinds of skills. So the students who tend to thrive with us are those who need structure. Often our students have suffered from just a lack of structure and supervision that's very difficult sometimes for a family to provide consistently. And the fact that we are staffed 24 hours a day, around the clock, by awake staff, we're able to meet needs in a way that's difficult to do in a typical home setting. Our students do tend to thrive under that kind of structure, and often do extremely well here, and show a lot of improvement in their social skills and adaptive functioning. Our structure and supervision and our programming provide a great deal of the therapeutic benefit. We do use positive behavior supports. We use a behavior modification system that's based on positive rewards. And the fact that we're just so intensively staffed, where there are always adults close by who can help intervene when the students have difficulty, and help them come up with more positive ways of interacting with each other and of dealing with the various situations. So a lot of the therapeutic effect is from the program itself. We do have additional therapies that are available, such as counseling and speech therapy and occupational therapy, various kinds of therapies that can be contracted for, and those are available. Often, though, even students who have received those therapies, perhaps in the past, it's frequently not necessary to have those pull-out services here, because many of those services are just embedded into our programming.
The Young Adult Academy is a program we have for aging adults. It ages anywhere from 18 to 40 or older. They will also follow the NY2 curriculum that will cover life skills, job training, social studies and science, math, and ELA. The students down there will rotate between 4 classes. It's set on a block schedule, no more than 8 students in a class, and they will focus on communication, life skills, vocation and job training, and health and wellness. In the fall, we're going to introduce NY2. It's going to be a campus-wide curriculum. It will have a social studies and science component, a life skills component, ELA component, which is English and language arts, and a math component. It will be what all teachers and academy coordinators will use to map progress, collect data, and implement daily lesson plans. Our CDC classroom is a self-contained class. Most of the students that fit there are going to be ones that are partially nonverbal or have random sporadic phrases that they've memorized. They're going to be lower functioning. They're going to work mainly on self-help skills, toileting skills, communication, and kindergarten to pre-K academics. Parents can expect to receive feedback a few different ways. We send out a newsletter, and that's done quarterly. We also can be reached individually by email. We also will do Skypes with individuals that would like to do that on a weekly basis. We have a computer science teacher that does weekly emails to families. That can be grandparents, sisters, brothers, aunts, uncles. The Skypes are mainly just done with the parents just because of the volume and the amount of time that it takes to set those up. I know that's a universal word. Sometimes that will mean Duo or FaceTime. We're able to accommodate any of those.
Levels is our largest behavior management system, and it is utilized both educationally and residentially. Each student has the opportunity to earn up to 5 points every hour, 7 days a week. Those points consist of being on task, following directions, positive peer interaction, and positive staff interaction. If a student earns all 4 of those points, then they are given a 5th bonus point. At the end of each week, all of those points are compiled, and each student is assigned a level based on the number of points earned. Levels range from 1 to 5 and determine a student's privileges throughout the entire week, including bedtime, room time, outside time, and electronics time in the house. A student's level can also be utilized to earn extra privileges, such as home passes and/or an allowance. The level system is a big hit with our higher functioning students who like to compete for the highest level. A student's level is also a wonderful indicator of how much progress he or she has made since entering the program. The rewards buck system is a token economy which is utilized educationally. Each student has the opportunity to earn 1 reward buck for every class period in which he or she displays positive behavior. Those reward bucks are carried around the student's necks in lanyards and can be used to purchase privileges throughout the day, such as iPad time, computer time, spending time with a favorite staff member or friend, and free time after work. Rewards bucks are the favorite of both our younger and lower functioning students as they enjoy a tangible reinforcer for good behavior. When managing difficult behaviors, our first intervention is always speaking to the student. The staff members involved will gently remind the student of the goals he or she is working toward and the importance of good behavior in order to reach those goals. If the negative behavior continues, the staff members involved would remind the student of the techniques which have been taught and practiced in order to help him or her regain composure. These techniques include deep breathing, counting, visualization, asking for a break, and/or asking to discuss the situation. Should the behavior continue, the student would be given an opportunity to calm in a designated area of the classroom or house. And if it continued further, the student would be removed from the classroom or house in order to provide distance from the trigger and provide the student a quieter and less chaotic environment in which to calm. At the point of removal from the classroom or house, continued efforts would be made to provide the student with calming tools, and another staff member would typically be called in hopes that a new face and voice could help with de-escalation. These efforts would be continued until the student begins to calm or becomes an imminent danger to him or herself and/or others. If at any point in this process the student poses a threat to the safety of anyone involved in the situation, he or she would be placed in a secure two-person hold in which all KDS staff members are trained extensively. The hold would only be utilized until the student no longer posed an imminent threat, and a third staff member would be called to monitor the student's condition throughout. Following the hold, the student would undergo an extensive debriefing procedure in which better ways to manage anger and frustration would be discussed and practiced. The only thing we ask of families during home visits is to maintain some level of consistency so the student doesn't regress dramatically. Our goal is for every family to have a wonderful visit with their child. Therefore, we don't like to put any more restrictions in place than necessary. The KDS team is willing to support the family in any way possible, however, to ensure a positive visit, and will provide as much support as necessary in order to guarantee a successful transition from school to home and back to school again. These supports will be discussed in a home visit training, which is conducted with each family prior to the first off-campus visit.
Typical evening in the residence starts by having a house meeting right at 3 o'clock with their peers in their group home. Talk about what they did during the day, what they learned during school, and then they talk about what the schedule's going to be like for the rest of the night, because we have lots of activities that are going on all the time, and our kids like to have a little bit of knowledge before we start going on those activities as to what's going on. So our kids are outside in the courtyard all evening. They're in the park lots of times. We go to the gym. We have pickup basketball games probably every other night, it seems like. But from 4 o'clock to 5 o'clock, we try to work on room cleanliness, taking up the time to tidy up their rooms. From 5 o'clock to 5:30, we're working on in the group homes. Staff and students are working on preparing meals. 5:30 to 6 o'clock, 6:30, we're having dinner time. We sit down together as a family unit and have our meals together. During that time, we also do medication pass in the clinic in the school at 5 o'clock and 8 o'clock. So around 8 o'clock, after everyone's got their meds, between 8 and 9 o'clock, depending on their level system, what level they're on, we start assigning bedtimes based on their level system. And the higher the level, the later your bedtime is, the lower your level, the earlier your bedtime is. And all students are typically in bed sleeping by 9:30. Throughout the year, we're working on Special Olympics practices. We go on typically about 7 trips throughout the year where we're working on we're learning basketball, football, golf. We even practice skiing in the gym without the snow, which is really awkward. We also have clubs that we work on every week. We could be meditating club. It could be Bible club if a child wants to be part of Bible club. Sensory club. We have a hiking club. We display socialization skills in all of our clubs because we're trying to bring the kids together to learn each other and to learn how to communicate and socialize in an environment outside of the home as well. As part of the IEP, our students have residential goals that they work on as well as their classroom goals that they work on. Our students typically work on 2 daily living goals. They work on social adaptive goals and a recreational goal. The daily living goals are typically something very simple, like learning how to make their bed, learning how to brush their teeth properly. Depending on what they're capable of doing, we also have students that are able to do cooking goals, where they're learning side by side with staff how to prepare a simple meal. And we have some students that can probably cook better than staff members, honestly. The social adaptive goals, we're trying to teach them how to get along in the residence with other peers when they can't always have what they want and get what they want. And the recreational goals could be achieved through playing a simple game of Uno, which also works on the social adaptive goal because we have to learn how to lose with grace and not become upset. So we're always learning daily living, social adaptive, and recreational.